Welcome to the session on how to use all operators in the where class which uses subqueries. Display the customers who do not belong to the cities George, Highland and Seattle. Let us take this example to understand how to use all operators in the where class. Now let's write a subquery which will return the city IDs for the cities George, Highland and Seattle. So you can see select city underscore ID from city list table where city name in George, Highland, Seattle will display the city IDs of these three cities. Now let's see the main query. The main query will be to display the customer names which you can see. Then the from clause will be from the customer list table as the customer list table has got the customer name. Now we have to write the where class carefully. We are going to say where city ID not equal to all subquery, which means when city ID is not equal to any of the values George, Highland or Seattle, then only the output will be displayed. And before that, let us order the output by city ID. Even though city ID is not displayed in the output, we can still order by city. Let's understand this with the help of an example. Now, let us take an example where we have a city list table which has got 10 records. Even though the city list table has got many columns, we are going to talk about only the 3 columns which are relevant to this example, which are customer first name, customer last name and the city ID. Customer first name and last name are to display in the output and city ID is to compare with the subquery. Now let us look at the subquery once again. The subquery says select city ID from city list table where city names are George, Highland and Seattle. Let's see the output of the subquery. The output of the subquery will always return city 001, 2 and 6 for each of the customer list records. As you can see, the subquery is not joined with the main query. It will always return the same value for all the records. Now, the where class of our main query says city ID not equal to, which means we will display the customer names of the customers who stay in cities whose city IDs doesn't fall in any of the city IDs written by the subquery. Take the example of the first record where the city ID of Alan Thomas is city 004 whereas the subquery has returned 1, 2 and 6, which means city 004 is not there in the subquery city IDs. So this will be our output. So the output will show Alan Thomas. Take the next customer city 006, but city 006 exists in the subquery, so this will not come in our output. Next is city 002 that also exists in the subquery, so this customer will not be displayed. Next is city 007, it does not exist in the subquery, so this customer details will be shown in the output. The same way city 003 is not shown in the subquery, so this customer will come in our output. And similarly 1, 2, 6 and 2 will not be displayed as these IDs exist in the subqueries, and the last customer David Hussey will be displayed as CT005 does not exist in the subquery city IDs, and the output will be customer name Alan Thomas, John David, Paul Thomas and David Hussey. Let us execute this query in our query browser and see whether we get the same result. You can see the same query in our query browser, and let's execute this query. You can see the same 4 customer names displayed in the output. The order might be different, but that is not important at this point. That completes the explanation on how to use all in the subqueries.